Yes. Okay. Um, my first one, what I would say is uh, align yourself with something that you're good at, right? And the reason I say this is there's both, success, or at least for me, success. There's two folds. One is, of course, you can be hard worker and you can put in the time, and that's extremely important. But we also have our natural inclinations, right? I, for one, can be very upfront. I am not very creative. So a career that demanded me to be creative was probably not in the cards for me. Doesn't mean that I don't like to be creative, right? Doesn't mean that I don't, have my hobbies. But that wasn't necessarily going to be something that I was going to be good at or much less excel at, even if I put in a lot of time, right? Like, I think that's the first one. The second thing, do something that you like or that you're passionate about. And I can tell you this right now, right? I said before, in banking, I was doing 120 hours, right? In investment banking. Nowadays, I'm probably doing 100 hours as a CFO. The difference there is I am not resentful now that I'm a CFO because I like what I'm doing, right? So it doesn't feel like a burden, or it doesn't feel like, that I'm a heavy lift that I have to do. I feel like I'm doing the work. I see the impact and I feel happy or rewarded for it. And I think that does really align. And then the third really big thing is surround yourself with people that will help you or will help lift you up, right? And by that, I mean, it's always good to have a network of friends, coworkers, mentors that are hopefully, whatever. Because the reality is, and this happens, you know, I learned this early on in my career in banking, is you learn on the job, right? As much as we love education and we go to school and, universities, there's a lot of things that you don't learn there that you learn on the job. And having that network of people that hopefully you can ask questions about whenever you're not feeling too sure about something, or you can, I used to remember when I started, in some of, uh, when I started doing a lot more client facing kind of work, I would have friends even like proofread my emails to customers, right? Like make sure to say, hey, does this sound right? Like a second pair of eyes. There was a really big rule that I learned in banking was whoever does the work shouldn't be checking it, right?
That's a good.
And I do this right now, Powell and my team, we have this golden rule. We're a very small team on the finance side. Um, but of course, whenever I do the work, I have her check it. And whenever she does the work, I'm the one that checks it, because the reality is, sometimes you miss your own mistakes, right? And having that network of friends and coworkers and mentors is super key for you to hopefully be successful.
Perfect. And we don't have that much time, so the last two questions, Alfredo, and is what is the most valuable career advice that you have ever received, or maybe that you have?
Yeah. I'll go back to my MD conversation. I think that's been, and I say this all the time. I think, you know, reassessing where you're at on, maybe it doesn't have to be every year, right? But like every 2 to 3 years, making sure that you're not becoming complacent, I think is key for your continued growth, especially early on in your career, right? I want to make sure to say, right, like, because what ends up happening, and I've seen this, is people that have been in the same job for 5, 10, 20 years, they might not necessarily be challenged, and they're not necessarily proactively looking for that challenge. It doesn't mean that you're going to change companies. It doesn't mean that you're going to change roles, but sometimes it's about raising your hand and say, hey, I feel like I've learned what I can here. Is there anything extra or any additional responsibilities that I'm able to take? Is there anything that I can help with? Right. It goes as far as being able to say that, just raising your hand and saying, hey, I want to learn something new. Or I want to be challenged, and continuously doing that, because that's only going to make you hopefully more developed, a better professional, right? So definitely don't become complacent, and every so often kind of check yourself, and make sure that you're constantly growing, learning,